Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast, your podcast dedicated to all things Animal Crossing. Episode 132 is brought to you by Elizabeth WP, one of our newest Patreon patrons. This week, Nina, Sergio, and I are going to go over the new Nook Miles Island rates, tell some stories about our playtime, and answer some questions from the post office. So to begin, hi Nina, how are you doing?
I'm doing good over here. How about you?
I'm doing splendidly. How are you, Sergio?
I'm doing splataciously. I don't know. Ketchup won, so I'm good.
Ketchup
Yeah, oh yeah, ketchup winners once again. I honestly, okay, so if I recall correctly, I feel like this was one of those rare, very clear winning Splatfests back in the day, where it was just like, I was on Team Mayo, and we just got destroyed left and right.
Oh.
I logged in a couple times just to play for a little bit, and I lost most of my games, so I was just like, it's gonna be ketchup again. So, yep, congrats, Sergio. I know your team ketchup.
You know, in Mayo won the first one they had, so, you know, technically there could be a, there could be a tiebreaker.
Wow.
Oh, I honestly remember Mayo losing. Like, I don't know. Maybe my memory is just bad on that then.
I think people just thought the color was so funny. Everybody signed up for it.
Oh, it looks bad.
It does. Man, I
It's
would have
not the
been
most
team
pleasant
mustard.
colors.
I don't like either of those condiments.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
You know, I used to think I didn't like mustard, but I found that it's mostly just yellow mustard that I'm not a huge fan of. A bunch of other types of mustards I actually really like. So
Yeah, you gotta get
I'm
that fancy.
probably team mustard too. But no, I'm probably still team mayo. I think it's just like something you can use with a lot more things. Like, it's more of an ingredient than just like a condiment too.
That's
you
true.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no.
So I lean that way. Cool. Okay. I guess we've talked enough about mayo, ketchup, condiments, all of that. Let's get into Animal Crossing. So island rates, I mentioned in the little announcement parts, but Nina, you reminded me of this, and you sent me a very helpful post from Beltree Forums that goes over the rates that islands show up. So what we mean by this is when you use a Nook Miles ticket, you go on, what's the official term for this? Like an island tour or something?
Yes, I've always just called them mystery islands.
Yeah, a mystery island. So you're going to go to a mystery island, and there are a bunch of different types of islands that you can get to, but, you know, some of them are a lot rarer than others, and from what we're seeing with the change in the rates is that the rare ones have become even more rare, and maybe even non-existent in some cases.
Yes.
So I'll go through this really quickly, and then we'll kind of talk about it. But there were two islands that were removed, and one is the Big Fish / Hybrid Island. So this one would have a bunch of hybrid flowers, and then all of the fish would be like the large 5 and 6 fish, right? Like those levels. And then there was another hybrid island that was just flowers. So basically, the fish weren't rare, but you could get a bunch of really nice flowers there. And so those were completely removed from the rotation. They're not ones that you can end up on anymore. So if you're looking for them, stop. You're not going to find one.
Yeah.
Save your Nook Miles and go use them for something else, in other words. But there were some that got increased in, I guess, the rates. So they're going to show up a little bit more. And all of these, I guess, have different styles. This isn't going to be completely clear, but there's a Short River one that got raised, Short River and Pond, Spiral River, Fidget Spinner, Sister Fruit, Curly River, and Waterfalls ones. So basically, these are all going to show up a lot more for you, and I feel like I've noticed all of these a lot even in the first place, so I wonder why they changed it.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get into the ones that got decreased, the ones that you're going to see a lot less, which is the Mountain Island, Scorpion / Money Rock, Rugged Tree, Big Fish, Trash, the finned fish, and the gold rock / scorpion island. So I'd say a lot of these I haven't even seen.
Right.
Even before the rates dropped. Like, there were a bunch that I never saw. There's some that I don't think we even could see based on where we live, right? Like the finned fish. I don't think that's one that's even possible for us, you know?
Oh.
Whereas, like, right now, the Scorpion Islands, I would love to land on one of those because I have yet to catch a scorpion since this month has changed. I haven't seen a single one.
Wow.
Well, I've seen one, but it, like, ran into a bush.
Yeah.
But I also have never been to a Money Rock Island. I've been to, like, I don't know. I guess I found one that had a bunch of rocks in the center, but it was more of just a tarantula one at the time.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Outside, have you all landed on any of these islands? Have you gotten any of them recently since this change happened?
You know, I honestly haven't even been going to the tours. I guess but when I was going, I did get the Money Rock one. I want to see like twice or 3 times, so I guess I got pretty lucky there.
I feel like that's the one I saw the most too. But like you, Sergio, I just haven't been going lately because I haven't really needed to.
Yeah.
And I've only ever been, well, it was the Tarantula Island at the time, but I've only ever seen it once. And I think I got the Money Rock Island twice.
I can't believe that. I have not seen it. I've never been to a Money Rock Island. I don't know.
It just seems like, you know, going from bad to worse almost, because I've never seen, well, and I'm never going to see one now, I guess, but I had never seen a hybrid flower island. And I used to go a lot to get like wood and stone and stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, like the hybrid flower ones, that's one I saw once. I got to see it one time, I guess before it disappeared, and it was pretty cool. Like, I still have the flowers that I got from there, which were orange and pink roses. That's what mine had. Oh, wow. And they were really nice. Yeah, I like them a lot. I've been breeding them, and they've made purple roses for me now, so I'm excited about them. Wow. But yeah, like, it's crazy that they went to, like, I don't know, they just got decreased, like, to such an obscenely low amount compared to, like, what was possible before, which was already obscenely low. Like, as an example here, I'm looking at the Gold Rock / Scorpion Island. So this one will have, I'm guessing, because I've never been to it, a bunch of rocks that just let out a bunch of gold ore. Does that sound right?
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah, that's my guess, because we haven't even been there. But basically, before, we had a 1% chance of landing on that island. And now, it's a 0.3% chance.
0.3! It's ridiculous.
I'm never going to see it. Like, I obviously, like, I don't even have the luck to see a Money Rock Island, which was 2% before. Now it's 1% to get that. And I'm just like, great. I went from never seeing this to definitely never seeing this. Thanks for changing that, Nintendo. But yeah, I don't know. Luck-based things, I've just accepted. I'm not a lucky person. That is not going to be something that's ever going to be the strong point in my life. So I basically, like, I look at this list of all these islands, and I'm just like, oh, I'm never going to see these at any point. The Trash Island, I heard about this one from a friend. Like, they went to an island, and they were, like, fishing, and they said, everything I fish up here is trash. This is crazy. And we were like, oh, like the fish are bad? And they're like, no, it's literal trash. It's boots, it's tires, it's tin cans, it's all of that stuff. And I'm just like, what? That's crazy.
I had been to that one, but you can catch those big old cockroach water bugs.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Those are cool.
And they're worth like 3,000 or something like that. So it wasn't a horrible island.
That's good money. Yeah. So, but to be fair, at the same time, I'm like, oh, wait, I've never fished on too many of these islands. Like, there are islands, maybe I did land on one and just didn't know.
Right,
you know?
Right.
And so, like, I'm not Like, I haven't seen it. I don't know what it would look like compared to the other ones, so I wouldn't be able to determine if it was one if I hadn't fished. So maybe I landed on it, because this one, like, it did have a high percentage rate before. It was 5%, which is pretty decent, but now it's 1% to get there. That one got completely trashed, pun completely intended for that, too. But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to me to see so many of these drop down. Like, that probably didn't need to drop down, too, you know?
It feels sneaky almost. I don't like it.
Yeah. The things that Nintendo's really changing with the odds are, like, kind of bummers to me. Because right now, like, I don't know what their intention is with making bug rates go down or fish rates go down. I don't know if they're like trying to get you to maybe, I don't know, make less money or something. But I'm like, that's not the thing that makes you money in this game. Everybody's playing the stock market already, Nintendo. Like, we don't need money. Money's not what we need at any point. Like, the stock market, that's got us covered. If you're worried about us making tons of money on these islands or making tons of money from these crazy spawn rates, like, no, that's not the thing. It's just making me spend 100 bait to catch one single mahi-mahi like I did the other day.
Yes. I wonder if they're trying to get us to play longer, so like it takes us longer to catch the mahi-mahi, or it takes us longer to get to a Scorpion Island, and so then we play the game more. Like, I don't understand their reasoning.
Yeah, and I don't get that either, because I'm like, I already play a lot.
Look at my hour count, Nintendo.
Okay, wait, before I forget, can we please say how many hours we all have?
You guys are going first.
Okay, Sergio, how many do you have?
I have 350.
Nice. I just checked this morning and I was at 320.
Nice. Nina?
Nina, what'd you get?
Okay, before I tell you my hour count, can I just say I have a bad habit of letting it run in the background because I like the music, or, you know, it just is open when I'm doing other stuff.
No, look, that's a valid way to play. Okay. I get it. Because you know what? Some of my hours are definitely just like at the end of the last day of Cherry Blossom Day, I just had my game on, staring at the sky the whole time, just waiting for balloons. So what's your hours?
It's 6:20, you guys.
Oh,
yes. It's almost the amount of both of us put together.
Yeah.
I have hidden it because I have a student following me on was friends with me on my Switch. So I've hidden my hours so that they don't know how much I play. 6:20.
I love it. I wish I had that many hours. I want to have that many hours.
But, like, I've played maybe a couple hours today, and it's been on all day long. That's my problem.
Yeah, that's how you do it. You just rack them up. Yeah, so Nintendo, I mean, clearly us playing the game isn't the problem. We're playing a lot, and some more than others, some less. But yeah, no, basically I'm just like, I know right now that my current plan, and I'm going to talk about one of these plans a lot more later, but I'm rearranging some things on my island. But I also know that I want to go and walk around and get a bunch of clams. Right now I can't because my beach is full of flowers. Like I said, I'm going to tell you some more about that later. But I know as soon as that's cleared out, I'm going to be collecting a ton of clams, but because I still am missing one of the new fish for the month. I think it's the giant tree valley. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the giant trevally, I think, which is another dockfish.
Yeah, it's a pure one. So I have not gotten one of those. Even after, what did I say, like 100 bait that I did? It was probably like 60. I think the number of bait I used was 60, and in that amount of time, I only caught one mahi-mahi and not a single giant trevally. So, what's up, Nintendo? Like, why are the rates so low at this point? I don't get it. You know? Yeah. So, of these, like, I've never heard of the Rugged Tree Island.
Yeah, I
Do you all
don't
know
know
which
what
one
that
that is?
means. I wonder if it means it's just pine trees.
Okay.
I would guess so, right? And honestly, I'm surprised because I feel like most players that have been playing since launch, a lot of us haven't really been going on tours anymore unless we're villager hunting. And if that's
Mm-hmm.
the case, we go to the islands not really to see what's there. We're just going for a villager, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it would be nice to have another incentive. We want to go to get the rare islands, to get some rare items or fish and bugs. So decreasing the rates of some of the better islands, I don't know. It seems a little counterintuitive, but who knows? Nintendo has a mind of their own usually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with that because, like, I wanted it to be an incentive for us for a long time, just like to go to a special different island, maybe get ideas for how we're, terraforming our land and that sort of thing, because it's very
Mhm.
like condensed spaces, and you're like, oh, this is
Yeah,
something
yeah.
I can do on my place and make it a little bit interesting. Or, just like find really cool things that you normally don't find on your island. Maybe you're a little bit bored of your space and you just want to go look around somewhere. But yeah, like you're saying, like the only reason I see people go to these islands is to hunt villagers. And from what I've seen, they typically just go to the island, see what villagers there, and then go away and then go to the next one. Like they're not spending time there,
Yeah, yeah.
Which, I feel like ideally you would want players to. And I mean, that said, like the way I've done it, I've done the villager hunting thing one time. I bought 10 Nook Miles tickets and I spent a stream going to islands and seeing who I'd get. And eventually I did take the 10th villager, which was Kevin Bacon. I'm a big fan.
Nice.
But yeah, like while I was there, I did take my time on some of the islands. I was like, oh, okay, I want to find the piece of furniture in the trees. I want to check if there's a fossil. I want to see if there's a DIY recipe because sometimes they've got those lying on the beach there,
Right.
But yeah, so there are little fun things that you can get from there, but after a while, it's just like, oh, I've seen these islands 100 times and this other island 0 times,
Yeah, if I have Flick on my island, I'll go at night and turn it into the Scorpion Island so I can, make some money off of Flick. But really, I haven't been using them at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's honestly a rare thing for me to go villager hunting because I'm scanning an amiibo every day,
me too.
and pretty often I'll just replace somebody and be like, oh yeah, I'm kind of feeling like this character will be a good fit here. So, it's a rare occasion where I'm like, oh, I have a plot that's empty and just all the time to go villager hunting,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see how they change. But the one thing that is kind of, I guess, a positive here is it's interesting to me that they can remove islands. I'm very interested to see when they add them.
Yes.
Because
That
I
could be
imagine
cool.
I imagine there's going to be some variations that we haven't seen that they've definitely thought of. And that'll probably give us like another reason to go out and look for different islands,
I have an idea. I think after a year, and once we have experienced all seasons, the seasons in the islands might be random.
Oh.
Because we have already seen all of them,
Like Mario Kart.
Yeah. No, I really like that because, like, you're flying away. Like, you can fly to the southern hemisphere, Like, even if it just, like, corresponds with, like, oh, landing on an island that's a different season because it's on the southern hemisphere, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would especially like that after a year too, just because like if this happened during like the autumn or something, and I'm just like, no, Nintendo, everything I want to see right now, I need to have as autumn. So don't send me to the southern hemisphere for summer. I've lived that. I don't need that in my life right now. Just send me to the autumn islands. We're good. So yeah, I basically, I'm just saying I would like if it happens in a year, but yeah, no, Sergio, that's great because right away, like that opens up some different things. Like I have not been to a southern hemisphere island, but I've heard of things that they have there that we don't, and I'm just like, yes, give me some of those. Mostly because they'd look really good in my town that I'm making. But yeah, I like that idea too. But I definitely want to see them add islands and maybe like, you know, like a hybrid flower island. That seems like a very early spring type of thing that would exist during maybe like the cherry blossom season, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. I would think it would be really cool to see just something seasonal, you know, something that makes it special during that time of year.
Yeah, so maybe we need to have more faith in Nintendo. Instead of our first reaction to this news being a big bummer, we need to think, oh, they're removing those 2 islands because they're spring islands, and now something new that's cool is going to come. That's going to be a summer island.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So initial thoughts, bummer, but next ones is maybe this is just building up to how flexible they can be with the islands, you know?
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So let's go ahead and move on into story time. I think all of us have some different things to talk about as far as our gameplay goes. I know I've already alluded to some of the stuff that I want to talk about. But yeah, I guess we'll go straight into story time. And Nina, you had one from last week, and then I guess another one that you're excited about this week.
Yeah, they're both pretty short stories, too, if you want me to sandwich in between you guys.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess, Sergio, you're working on something.
Yes, I'm working on, I guess it's like my biggest project because I didn't really do any terraforming, very, very minor, just to accommodate a path to make it look very, like symmetrical, just to make it look better. So I hadn't really done anything, right? And then all of a sudden I'm thinking, whenever red is over, which is rare, first of all, I have to climb 2 cliffs just to get to the secret beach. It's so secret. It's so like secluded and away from everything. And I always, I've seen some islands that have like a clear path to the secret beach. And I'm like, I kind of want that, but then I have to do a lot of terraforming. And then all of a sudden I just thought, well, I mean, if those cliffs back there are sort of a waste of space, well, all the cliff around the island, it's the same thing. It's a wall that you cannot decorate. The stairs, I mean, if it was flat, there wouldn't be a need for stairs, so you could have more things around your island, where the stairs are, where the cliffs are. And I just went for it. It took me a lot of thinking because I knew it was gonna be a big project. But yeah, I decided to flatten pretty much everything. I'm gonna leave a little bit of river and a waterfall because there are some river fish that you can only get on an upper level, like the second tier. So I'm gonna leave that. And also the Jacob's ladders only grow on a higher tier. In case I ever get another one, I only have one. I'm okay with that. But you know, if another one ever pops up, it's gonna be up there. So I'm flattening everything. I don't want to change the layout, so it's taking even longer because, for example, I clear a path that's already been placed, and then I take the dirt out 2 levels, and then I put the same path. Or if it was a flower or a bush, I put it back in the same place where it was. It's just 1 level down or 2 levels down. It's taking a while, and the island is a mess. Everyone knows it's a mess. All the villagers, you know, we kind of had a meeting in which it's gonna take a while. It's gonna look a little messy, but everyone agreed. And you know what's funny? I've been moving the villagers in the morning, and I don't know if either of you have done that, but they all seem to have like a PJ set. They're all wearing pajamas when you move them in the morning. It's pretty cool. I hadn't noticed that.
Oh,
Yeah,
like when you talk to them at
Yeah.
Nook? Oh,
Yeah.
that's really cute.
Yeah, if you I saw this the other day because I was moving Grizzly's house like first thing in the morning, and he's a cranky villager, so he doesn't wake up until 9 or so. And so I caught him before he was supposed to be awake, so he was in his PJs. But if you are up late enough, if it's a villager's bedtime, I want to say like about maybe half an hour or so before they're going to bed, they will change into that PJ set. So you can like talk to them while they're dressed up and ready for bed, which is really cute.
That's amazing.
I've noticed there's a few different types of PJ sets. I have a couple. There's kind of like a nightgown PJ set, and then there's like the pants and top PJ set, which they both show up as kind of like one of the one-piece things.
Yes.
But I mostly noticed them because Jackie has that habit of like putting her character into PJs before going to bed. And so I have a few PJ sets now that I kind of like swap through before bed too. But yeah, no, they all look really cute in those PJs. They're adorable.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a really great detail. But also, like, it's funny, Sergio, because you're talking my language completely here. I have the same issue where I'm just like, I was trying to essentially make some ramps that go down to red, and then as soon as I put one down, I was just like, oh no. If I put another one down, that would make 8 for me right now. And I won't be able to put another one over in this little spot where I do really want one. And I was kind of, I guess, thinking of like different things that I can do. And the most, I guess, obvious to me that would work the best was definitely like just carving through the mountain, doing kind of like I've been seeing a lot of people do these really cool like cliff paths where they'll carve through the cliff and make it like a path. And I'm just like, 1, it looks really awesome and really cool and decorative and everything. And then 2, it would be a way for me to save an incline, you know? And so with that whole thought, I was just like, I need to do a lot of work with my island. And one of them is just because like I see a lot of people do really cool, interesting things with like the levels of places. Like maybe they'll just like make one incline that goes down to just this little area that just has a villager house, you know? And I'm like, oh man, it'd be so cool to do that. But I already don't have the inclines for it because my whole island is just kind of like, I don't know. I guess I liked the way it was built out, but all of the inclines were definitely just for utility. Like it was just a convenient spot to put an incline so I wouldn't have to pull my ladder out, you know? And so now that I have all of this knowledge in me, I'm just like, okay, I can plan this better so everything is like precisely where it needs to be and I won't have to pull out my ladder, get out a pole vault, that sort of thing, and just like accept this is how I'm going to have to place things in order to essentially, you know, get the right amount of inclines in my place without needing extra tools in my pockets. You know? I guess, was that kind of your motivation behind it too?
Yeah, a little of that. And then also, you know, there's a lot of rocks back there that honestly I wasn't really accessing. There was nothing I could do or put there. And then on the sides, I had some bushes mostly on the right side. But again, there was really nothing else that I could do because the cliff was right there. So just by flattening everything, there's going to be more room.
Yeah, and then you can also like utilize that back rock space. I know, Nina, you have a spa area that kind of goes into those rocks. And I'm jealous of that for sure. Like that's another huge motivation for me to like kind of clear out that back mountain portion and have it a little bit flatter, you know?
Those every time I see those little canyon paths that cut through the land, it really makes me want us to build bridges over gaps like that.
Oh yes, I want that so badly. Like literally
so cool.
Okay, that's the other motivating factor for me for like doing it. I guess kind of going at my town right now. It's just that if I decided to do a essentially like a canyon path that goes to Crazy Red, I would have wanted a bridge to go over that canyon, you know? So man, so many things that I would love to be able to happen. But I guess this takes me into my story time. So I chopped down a lot of trees. That's gonna that happened, and I spent I don't know how long I spent the other day, but I chopped down a bunch of trees, and then the next day I talked to Isabel, and she's like, there's too many trees. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And so I chopped down even more trees, and then I went back to Isabel, and she was like, nope, still too many trees. And I was just like, how many trees do I have? And then I went crazy. I went absolutely nuts, and I chopped down a ton of trees. There's essentially like my entrance area that was very like foresty and more built out in that style, that's still there. So I have that, and then I have a little portion to the left And then there's like a little part of the mountain that that I haven't touched really. And so those are all the trees I have. And then just the rest of the place is completely barren at the moment. Because on top of that, I moved every single one of my flowers to the beach. Just to have as much room as possible there. I've moved all of my villagers to the beach as well. So everything is on the beach right now.
Man.
And I'm about to move like my shops to the beach too, just to like really tear this place up. But I mean, that would involve me moving a couple other villagers because I made the mistake of putting them all on like the southern beach. And I'm like, oh no, there's not enough room for the museum on any of these side parts.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm probably going to move a couple villagers up to the sides just so I can move the museum and stuff and just have like a completely blank slate for my island right now.
Even your entrance?
I don't know. I'm torn about it. I've kept it as is right now. There's some little parts that I'm like, yeah, I don't mind. I can chop that down. It's fine. But other parts, I'm just like, I like this entrance. I like it. It's like got the foresty thing that I'm going for, but I've been watching some more kind of island tours and seeing like, people who kind of mess with the levels and stuff. It gives them a little bit more room to mess with how many trees they have because, the cliffs and stuff, they kind of fill in the space enough where I'm like, okay, I don't need so many trees here. Jackie was playing it with this too, where she just like made a little cliff part in front of her house that was like, I don't know, she had 5, 6 trees there, and now she's like, yeah, I can only fit 2 here now, and it still looks very full,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna play with it just so because I think I'm going for it. I think I'm going for a 5-star island at this point. Now that I've put this much work into it, I'm like, all right, I've got to commit.
You got to start counting your trees.
Yeah, I haven't counted them yet, but I did count like a bunch of stumps at one point. I think I took a screenshot. I haven't shared it on Twitter at all yet, but there was this one little spot where I just like, I put a lot of excess trees there and was like, yeah, these are the ones I'm going to use later when I finally fill this part in. And I was like, I don't know, I'm just going to replant everything. So I chopped them down, and in one little screenshot, I think I had like 19 stumps of trees in that screen. So yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, it literally took me like chopping down trees for 3 days to finally get to that point where she wasn't yelling at me about trees.
That's what I was about to ask you guys. Both of these are huge undertakings that are just going to take days and days. Like you've mentally prepared for this?
I suspect I'll take more than days and days.
Mm-hmm.
It'll probably be a couple months for me.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not as fast as Sergio is.
Well, I guess the only planning that I did is that I said, okay, well, this is a holiday weekend, so I haven't done much today, but tomorrow I have all day to work on this, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll be driving all day tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe I'll probably get a little break here and there, so we'll see. We'll see how much I play tomorrow, but today I want to play a lot more. Definitely after we record, I'm just going to like eat hamburgers and play Animal Crossing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and like these big projects, I feel like it is a lot of work, and it's a span of days because you can only move one house a day or demolish one incline per day. But I feel like it's going to be so worth it. And I feel like in general, these big projects, when we plan them out, and we have a vision and then we work on it hard every day, and it's going to be worth it for everyone that has a big project like these.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, you're totally reminding me. I have to destroy a couple bridges, like already. Like,
yeah.
I know there's 2 bridges that I need to destroy, and probably pretty soon a lot of them. So, yeah, it's a lot of work for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully it'll be worth it, and you guys will love your islands even more because of it.
Yeah,
I'm excited about it. I am really excited about it because I feel like I'm always on my way to something, and I like a lot of it, but then I start to run into those parts where I'm just like, I can't do that because I don't have this. And so yeah, I'm just like, all right, we're blank slating this. I've got to really have it planned out from the beginning.
It's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, so you had a couple short stories, right?
Some short stories, yeah. I last week we threw a birthday party for a friend of mine, and her boyfriend hosted it. And he had only been on my island once, maybe when we first started playing. And when I visited his island, I saw one of my old villagers that had moved in. It was Pashmina, who probably was the first person to move out of my island. And when I went and talked to her, she remembered me. She remembered Keel Hall. And I'm just excited to say that the void is back from New Leaf. And it's got a long memory, apparently, because Pashmina had moved out a while ago. And this person we were playing with said that she had moved into his town maybe a few days before that. So she had been in the void for a while.
I love that.
Exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really fun because like you never know now, like when you're gonna just like all of a sudden see one of your old villagers at a friend's place, you know?
Yeah, and maybe I had gone to his island once. I can't remember which way it was, but we had only visited each other once, and that was enough to get her to move in once he had an empty spot, which is cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Mm-hmm. So, Sergio, who are you hoping moves into some of your friends' places?
Oh, it would be nice to be able to talk to Diana again. You know, since we're on the subject of the void, hopefully eventually becomes cross-platform. And what I mean by that is, if the void knew the villagers that you had in New Leaf and in City Folk and in Wild World, can you imagine? We lived together back then in the 80s or something.
In the 80s. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh. I mean,
That's
and I
pretty
think
great.
That's motivation for people. A lot of people, especially with Amiibo and with Mystery Island hunting, don't leave their blank spots open just for anyone to move in. And so it was lucky that he had left his open for someone random. And, you know, he got a nice Pashmina surprise.
Yeah, and she's great.
Mm-hmm.
One question, I guess, have you gotten to see Pashmina? Was she one of your first 5 villagers?
Yes, she was.
So when she moved over to your friend's place, does she like get her furniture that she should have at that point?
Yes, she does.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah, I didn't recognize
to see
her house. Yeah. I don't like those first 5 houses.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're fine enough. I think the first 2 are probably the biggest bummer because they definitely have less than all of them.
Mm-hmm.
True.
But like everyone beyond that, like the next 3 are pretty good. But even then, it's just like, oh, every single person has these same 3 house styles.
Yeah, and hers was so
nice
fancy. I didn't recognize it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool to see that they move out and they get the furniture they need to have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my second story was just that, you know, I'm not much of a gardener, but I finally worked this weekend and got the golden sparkles. I had a bunch of people from Haken come and water some hyacinth that I've been working on, and I wanted to get some gold roses for my treasure pile for my pirates.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we had, let's see, RL Flat 06, Kaylee, Subversive Verse, Thunder Buddy 15, Classic Michi, and Diablo Shadow all came, and I got 4 golden roses and 6 purple hyacinth from them watering my flowers, which was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was cool.
That pays off.
Rain at that point.
Yeah, and the animation of the golden sparkles is beautiful, so it was really exciting.
Ooh.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've never seen that. I definitely want to try now.
Mm-hmm. It's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
at some point.
I took your idea from your island, Sergio, where you have like wrapped mystery presents. So I left presents for them out if they came over to help garden. It was just fun. Like, it was a fun little party.
Oh, nice.
That is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, I just had one more short little story. Jolly Red came over to both Jackie and I's place this week. He came on the same day for both of us, so unfortunately we couldn't buy more pieces from each other in that case. Because, if you do buy from Jolly Red one day, that rest of the day you cannot get another thing. So
yeah, even if it's on another island.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're stuck with that one purchase, right or wrong. That's what you're gonna get. But I told you all, like, Jackie and I were not looking up any of these pieces the typical way. We're actually like taking pictures of all of them that we find, and we're just trying to, catalog the differences between ourselves, But since we're in California at Jackie's place, we actually found they have this art book full of masterpieces. And so we were like, oh, well, this is a little bit different than like just looking it up on the internet. Let's dig through this book and see if we find any of our pieces in here, And so some of them we knew who the artist was, so we were able to look up. Others we were just flipping through pages to see if it would show up at all,
Mm-hmm.
And so we did manage to find, I think, a few of the pieces that were in our Crazy Red shop. And one of them was really tricky because we were looking at it for a while. And then Jackie just happened to notice one little difference. And we're like, I think that's the difference.
Ooh.
And then funny enough, I actually had that piece and I was like, oh yeah, somebody gave me this piece and it's fake. And then we looked at it and it was the same piece that Jackie had on her island. So we were able to determine that it was fake through like looking at this art book. And then it just got double confirmed when I showed her the fake piece that I had. Yeah, so we're having a lot of fun with it. We showed the pieces to Jackie's family here, and we were like, can you guess if this is fake or not? Kind of had a little fun with it, and then that's when her dad was like, oh, I've got some art books here, so you can check them out.
Oh, cool. So are they like big, glossy photo, like coffee table books?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there's one that was like, I don't know, like 100 masterpieces or something, and so that one, or 1,000, I think, and it was huge, and it's a hardcover book and just has tons of art in it.
So did you end up with real pieces?
We did, actually.
Yay.
I had the Milkmaid piece in mine, and it wasn't real, but I was very happy. I chuckled when I saw what was wrong with it, because
that one's really hard.
Yeah, I did not notice it for a long time. I was like, I don't know what's different. And then I'll tell you both here. Here's a little guide for all of you, I guess. Don't listen for the next 5 seconds if you don't want to know it. But if you look at the milk pouring out of the jug, you'll notice the fake piece has like a huge stream of milk, whereas the real piece is more of a trickle. So that's the difference there. And I laughed because I was like, oh, it's the Milkmaid and there's a lot of milk here. But yeah, I ended up going with a statue because I was like, all right, I'm pretty sure all the rest of them are fake. I had like the Mona Lisa there and I was like, I have a fake Mona Lisa that I got from somebody else's Crazy Red and it looked just like that one. So I was like, I'm not buying that one. And then I forget what my third piece was. So I went with the fourth, which was the statue because I was like, all right, either this is fake and I got all fakes this time or this is the real one. So I didn't know at that point. Because, it was an art book. It didn't have, like, sculptures in it.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It just had, like, paintings. So, I got lucky. It was the right one.
Fun. I really wish there's a really famous recreation of a Mona Lisa by Duchamp where he drew a mustache on her, and I really wish that was like a pretend fake, but it was actually real, like to throw everybody off. That would be amazing.
That would be so funny.
I would love it.
Yeah. Cool. So I guess that was story time with all of us. We had some fun, different things going on our islands, but we're going to go ahead and hop into our post office and take some letters from people. So this all kind of started out where we got this really wonderful letter from Evan Hawks, who supports us over on Patreon, but he's essentially this message. He said, "Hey man, I'm not sure if this is the place to ask this question, but I will anyway, haha. So, New Horizons is really my first Animal Crossing that I've really gotten into. I played some of New Leaf, but honestly not that much to really get invested or understand the charm of the game. I just hit 200 hours on New Horizons, and I've had so much fun and really fell in love with the game and community. I found your podcast on iTunes, and I've listened to 97 episodes. It's a lot. So needless to say, I'm sort of obsessed with this game. And that leads me into my question. Over the last couple of months and the last 200 hours, I've gotten my island to a place that I really like. And honestly, I only have a few areas that need to be worked on. This means that after I do my daily chores, I'm sort of out of the main things to do besides catch fish and bugs. Now don't get me wrong, I know this is how Animal Crossing works, and I'm totally fine with that, but I'm just kind of wondering what a day in Animal Crossing looks like for you after you've developed a routine. Is it 15 minutes and done, or do you feel the need to play more just because you love the series? I just got my Switch in February, so there's tons of games I need to play, but whenever I think about playing another game, I fear that I won't return to Animal Crossing and lose something that I love so much. So I've kind of cut this down into a few different questions for us to answer because it is a big letter. But thank you once again, Evan, for this. But the first one for you, and I guess Nina, you can start. What does your daily routine look like?
So usually I start out my routine like checking mail and making morning rounds, but I'm going to kind of change up my answer because recently I moved my mailbox down to my main square to make it look more like a public mailbox. Since, pirates don't really get mail. So I wanted to move my mailbox. And that's like completely changed my morning routine. And I'm really enjoying it because before, you go through the loading screen of the game starting up, and then you listen to Isabel, and there's another loading screen, and then you have to get your letters, and then, you got to get your person out and dressed. And it was just like so tedious to me that now that I've moved my mailbox, I can kind of get a little more things done before I stop and get my mail, and it's turned it into kind of more of like a present, exciting routine for me, which is really nice. So I pick up sticks, I dig up stray flowers, I water hybrids, I talk to visitors, and I wrap and buy presents for every resident. I check them off. So my routine kind of is like cleanup duty before I get into like bug and fish catching.
That's pretty fun. I guess I moved my mailbox a little bit, but definitely not to that extent. So I can definitely see how that would change the way you travel, in the morning. Like because I guess where I grew up, it was a little mountain town, and none of us got our mail really delivered to our places. Like, everybody kind of had to get a P.O. box in that area. And so, for me getting mail, it was like, oh, we have to go somewhere to do it.
Yeah.
And so, this kind of gives me that vibe for sure.
Yeah, I really have been enjoying it, and it looks really cute outside of my Nook's Cranny because it makes it look like, a little station where you drop off your mail. So it's changed it up, and I'm really liking my routine now.
Yeah, honestly, it would be so great if we could use our mailbox to send letters to.
Yeah.
So it would feel like, oh, here's this other little post office where I can send things,
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what about you, Sergio? What's your daily routine look like?
So yeah, I start out with the mail, and then after that, I go checking for hybrid flowers. If it rained, I used to water my flowers, but I kind of given up on that. Like I just said, you know what? I'll just wait for hybrids if it rains, and yeah, it's a little bit easier that way. So while I'm checking for hybrids, I'm also looking for fossils. Then after that, I call it the cedar path. It's a path on the right side of my island. It's kind of like I was going to say a straight wavy line. But yeah, it's like going upward, and it's surrounded by cedars on both sides. And I did that so I could have the cedar trees and a couple of the regular saplings so that those are the trees that have wasps and money and the two items, right? Mm-hmm. So I kind of just have to go through a straight wavy line, and I get them all easier instead of having them spread out. So I do that, go from bottom to top, and then I go back from top to bottom with the wood, chopping wood. Those are the only trees that I get wood out of. I left the fruit ones alone now.
What a great idea.
Yeah, that's really fun. That's one thing I've run into with my setup where it's just like, oh man, it's kind of hard to get to a lot of these trees here.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it makes sense to have like a little path where you can just do that. Like that's what it's dedicated to.
Your little forestry area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when we had the cherry blossoms, it was the saplings only, and it looked amazing. I cannot wait to replace the cedars with those again. It's gonna be nice. So after that, I go for the rocks. I go hitting the 6 rocks around the town. And the last thing I do, I scan an amiibo, and I do a couple of things at the Nuke station. And then I go grant the request from the amiibo. And that's about it. Like, that's the early morning routine that I have. It takes about an hour, maybe more, because I let myself get easily distracted. If I see a bug, if I see a fish, I go for it. even shells. The only thing I'm not really collecting right now is the clams. I want to set aside one day, probably next month, to get a lot of bait for the July fishing tourney.
Oh yeah, that's coming up. We've got to remind people, because the clams are going to be real crucial for you to collect before the tourney, because I spent I don't know how many hours on it and still didn't get gold.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
It takes work to really do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, Sergio, you remembered a lot of things that I even forgot to say on my routine. There's so many things to do every day before there's nothing to do.
Yeah. And it's funny because I've kind of had an evolving routine over time. Like there's times where I'll do certain things for a while and then I'm like, oh, I feel good about maybe my stockpile of ores and things. I'm not hitting my rocks as much. I recently just started doing rocks again. I put it back into my routine just this week, actually, because it'd been, I want to say two or 3 weeks that I haven't been hitting them. So I think it's mostly because I really want gold nuggets.
Yeah.
And funny enough, like today I got one from hitting my rocks. So I'm like, okay, this is working. I'm doing this again.
Nice.
But yeah, so basically, I guess my routine, I just start out, I get dressed, because usually I'm in like my PJs or whatever, and then I'll run out, get my mail, which isn't right by my house, but it's in front of it to an extent. So I'll open up my letters, kind of organize my pockets to get the day going, and from there, I just I go out and I look for the fossils because that's like pretty consistent, you know. I find my 4 fossils. I'll talk to all my villagers along the way. I kind of have notes about well, right now I don't really know where everybody lives. I just kind of picked a spot on the beach and was like, you're going to be here for now. I'll remember where you live later. But yeah, I'll basically talk to my villagers. If they're not awake yet, I'll just, eventually they will be because I'll play that long. So from there, I assess my fossils, and then I hit the shops. I'll check out Nook's shop, which I actually have to go back right now after because I have to buy some things. I haven't gotten everything there yet.
Oh.
And then I'll check the clothing shop. There hasn't been too much in the clothing that I've wanted lately, so I don't. It's usually I'll buy maybe one item. It's usually 0 or 1 item. But yeah, from there, I'll just head back home once again and just drop off my pocket stuff again. I haven't been selling my fossils. I've just kind of been stockpiling them in case somebody needs one. But yeah, lately, I just store them. So maybe one day I'll just sell them and get a ton of money. But for now, they're in my closets.
Wow.
Yeah. And then after that, I just periodically throughout the day will check who's crafting. Lately, kind of part of my routine, because like I said, I'm moving a lot of things, has been digging up flowers and moving them to the beach. I finished that already, so I don't have to do that anymore. Chopping down some trees, finished that, so I don't have to hurt my heart anymore. And then... and then I'll scan in an amiibo and just see what they're... But funny enough, that hasn't been in my routine this week because I didn't bring my amiibo cards on my trip. So most of my motivation was just I want to finally see a character come to my island without using an amiibo card.
Yeah.
I did see one pop up. It was Poppy,
Ah.
and she was real cute. She
Nice.
kept telling me to play this card game, and she kept winning. So I never. I was actually. She offered to move in if I won the card game, and I was like, you know what? Let's give it a go. And so I lost, and I didn't get to see what happened after that. But yeah, I was like, you know what? If she wants to move in, sure. I can always get like pretty much any villager back at this point if I regret it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's basically my day. And
I've kind of been feeling that way about scanning my amiibo too, because I've stopped getting new DIY from them. Which I'm sure if I kept doing it, I would get more DIY, but I'm a little bit over it. So I haven't been able to play any of the games with the campers because the amiibo people don't play them. So I kind of wanting to stop scanning too.
Yeah, and I'm running into that too, where I just don't get as many new ones as before. Yeah.
Do you know if there's a time when the random campers show up? Because I have never had a camper at the campsite, but I always scan the amiibo pretty early in the morning.
So, okay. I learned this from somebody on like a Twitter chat or something, but there is a 0% chance for the first 2 days after somebody has been in your campsite. So if you've been scanning them in every day, the next day there's a 0% chance of somebody showing up randomly. So
and then on the third day, yeah, it is. But on the third day, I think it only goes up to like 10%.
Yeah, the odds stay pretty low all the time.
Until like a week, I think, right?
Yeah. I think like once you hit 6 days or so, it's like, I don't even know what it is, like 20% every day after that. Yeah. So, and then it just remains at 20% from there on out or something. And I don't know the number exactly, but it was a lot lower than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, at least bring it up to 50. Come on. Because, I mean, like, as soon as you get one, like, the next 2 days, there's a 0% chance, so...
Yeah. That's the theme of today's episode, is Nintendo keeping those percentages low.
I know. That's seriously it. Yeah. Okay, so I do have a question following up from this. So are you afraid you won't return to... Or actually, no, sorry, I skipped another one. Do you feel like you play Animal Crossing New Horizons because you need to? I'll start with this one, and I guess I mean sort of. But no, I mean that in the sense of like, I need to play it because it is life.
Yeah.
But really, it's just like, I love checking into the game every day. I may not need to play for too long, but the day just doesn't feel right if I don't check in, you know?
Yeah.
It feels like I've missed something or I'm missing something from my day. And from what you all have heard from me so far, I always give myself things to do in the game. So I live the perpetual work in progress life of Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
What about you, Sergio?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I call it like a good need. It's something that you do need in a way, but it's more because it's a desire. You want to do it, and it becomes so much that it's like a need. And for me, it's almost very often right at 5 a.m. I just want to be there as soon as everything starts. Rarely it goes anything. It's never really been anything other than 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. at the latest. And yeah, it's a good need. I know, after a particularly rough work day, I definitely need to come back and relax playing this game. And even if it's been a good day, just playing this game makes everything better. So if it's been a rough day, it clears my mind and it gets me back with energy. And if it's been a regular or a good day, it makes it even better. So yeah, I need to play this game just to make my life better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. I wonder what he means by need. Like, need because we're on this podcast and we have to have something to talk about, or because of your YouTube channel, you need to make content. But, because we can't really get a clarification right now, I will say, yeah, I kind of do need to. It's a little bit of a compulsion for me, but like how Sergio said, in a good way.
Yeah.
Like if I have nothing else to do, I'll throw it on and jog around my town for a little bit, or obviously it'll just be playing in the background for hours and hours. But it's because it's a passion, and it's something that I thought about even when we didn't have a game out. So
Yes.
yeah, it was something missing from my life for a long time. So I'm so excited to have it now.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like I was kind of explaining where I was like, oh man, I'm not doing much on YouTube these days, but it's mostly because I just want to enjoy playing the game a lot. So yeah. So here's my last question based on this little message. Are you afraid you won't return to Animal Crossing if you play other games? How are you feeling about that, Sergio?
At first I was, and then I realized that fear, in a way, it's actually a good thing. Lately, I've actually been playing a lot of other games, mostly multiplayer, Splatoon 2 with the Splatfest. Panel de Pon just came out, which is like Tetris Attack, basically, on the SNES service. I'm also playing Rocket League still, early mornings, and then Clubhouse Games is coming out pretty soon on the Switch. So all of these, like, quote-unquote, distractions have been a good thing because, like I said, my bigger projects, like the flattening and other things, I kind of leave those for the weekend. And in a way, my progress with my island has been slowed down, but I kind of like that. It just means that I'm going to be playing the game a lot longer, and it's going to take me longer to get a developed island. I don't want to say done because we're never really done, but it's going to take longer to keep working on these projects, and it's going to keep me coming back to the game. And to me, that's a good thing because we've talked about, we're going to be missing things. Like I missed half of the cherry blossom recipes, and I'm looking forward to that already next year. So the more things that, take away from my playtime in a way, even though I'm still playing a lot every day, to me, that's a good thing. Yeah, keep distracting me, games.
Yeah. It's funny that, like, not playing Animal Crossing leads you to being able to play more Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about you, Nina?
I honestly have never had trouble returning to Animal Crossing, but I also have trouble leaving Animal Crossing. Like I'll play another game and then just not be satisfied because I don't enjoy it as much as Animal Crossing.
True.
But like during our long break, I'll get into games like I played Breath of the Wild forever, and played through Mario Odyssey and stuff like that. But I always come back to Animal Crossing because of how unique it is. And I think, like what Sergio was saying, it's okay to go away from Animal Crossing for a little while because they have these events that draw you back. So there are down periods, but they're kind of built into the game on purpose, I think. So it's just like real life where you have regular work days, but then you have Halloween and it's exciting again. So it has that ebb and flow that's really organic.
Yeah, I like that. Like it just kind of calls you back when you need to go back and everything. So yeah, I mean, for me, I'm just like, I'll always make time for Animal Crossing. Like I'm sure both of you would. So I mean, I've already been hopping into other games. Even like on the first week of the game, I was just like, I was pretty much playing Animal Crossing or Fire Emblem. That was what I would do. I'd just hop back and forth because sometimes I'd be like, oh, I need to like think about Animal Crossing for a little bit. Maybe I'll just play something else real quick so I can think about it more.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I enjoy being able to hop in and out of games. Like, let's see, Evan kind of mentioned they're playing maybe 15 minutes a day and then they feel done. And I'm like, yeah, sometimes that's all you really need and you're satisfied and you can just move on to the next one. So yeah, it's not too bad. Okay, well, we've got a few more questions to answer. I think two more questions. We'll go through those real quick and then get into our Haken Islander corner. So Wizza over on Discord asked, have you guys logged in onto Pocket Camp or have you completely dropped it for New Horizons? And I'll tell you real quickly, like I logged in to see this whole rainy thing that's going on and I'm not sure if I clicked on the wrong thing or anything, but I was like, it's not raining. What is this? And then I looked and I essentially saw that like you could buy one of the campsite terrains that would make it rainy, and it was
Oh,
300
wow.
leaf tickets, and I was like, I've got 40, no, and then I noped right out of there and never went back. So what about you, Sergio?
Wow, that is so strange. You have to buy rain.
Yeah, nuh-uh. I mean, I'll probably pay for it in New Horizons because it never rains in my place. But not in Pocket Camp.
Nice. Yeah, no, I have not really played Pocket Camp. I went back in there for, I believe there was some cross promotion going on with New Horizons, right? That you could get some New Horizons items if you did something in Pocket Camp. I don't even really remember how it worked. I did that and that was it. If it's the other way around, like getting items from New Horizons into Pocket Camp, I'm not really interested. I'm not logging back for that. No, I just want things for New Horizons. I've switched over completely.
Yeah, that's the way to go. What about you, Nina?
Before New Horizons came out, I had these grandiose plans of playing both Animal Crossing New Horizons and Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. And then a few weeks into New Horizons, I was like scrolling through my Twitter timeline and saw that Pocket Camp had tweeted something and was like, oh my God, I forgot this game existed. it had completely erased itself from my mind. But now that I've remembered it again, I have some problems with object permanence sometimes, but now that I've remembered the game exists, I like to check in on my news feed on Twitter about like the new items, just because I like the designs and the animation and the art of it kind of, but I have not logged back in at all.
Yeah. Yeah, so, okay, I'll say I just logged in right now, and I'm finding that my campsite is not rainy, which is the first thing I saw before, but I went to another location, and it is rainy there.
Oh.
And
Like at the beach or something?
Oh,
yeah, I went to
okay.
like the little island spot, and it's raining, so I like it better.
Cool.
But I'm not going to play. Because, yeah, I mean, bottom line, New Horizons it replaced it.
Man, that's tricky.
Yeah. All right, so this last question was from Kakulu, and they asked, do any of you co-hosts have thoughts on games similar to Animal Crossing on non-Nintendo consoles? Other game genres have many offerings from different studios on different consoles, like COD, Halo, Battlefield, etc. They're all first-person shooters with similar military-focused themes and gameplay. Do you think that, with the popularity of New Horizons, we might see other real-time life sim games start popping up? Sergio, what do you think of this one?
That's a great question. Initially I would think no. I feel like this is sort of a niche genre. There's not really a lot of series or even games that are like Animal Crossing. But considering how crazy bonkers New Horizons is selling and everyone is taking notice of that, yeah, I can definitely see some third parties putting out more one-off games that are like Animal Crossing or more like Harvest Moon in a way. I'm thinking games like My Time at Portia, games like that, not really like a direct competitor to Animal Crossing or something with real time. I don't think they would even try that. But again, I'm guessing that's only gonna come out from a couple of the lower third parties, like more on the indie side. I don't see the AAA, quote unquote AAA companies working on that. I feel like they're kind of stuck on their ways with first-person shooters and whatnot. So I feel like we might see a couple of more indie games like Animal Crossing, but probably not like big games like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tough to know. I'd really like to see some games, like definitely more life sim games pop up. I've been playing a bit of Viva Pinata on Xbox for a bit. Because, Sergio, you kindly gifted me your old Xbox One, and I was like, man, I can't wait to play Viva Pinata on this, which is not usually the thing people want an Xbox for, but for me it was. But yeah, no, like in general, I would be down for more Life Sims stuff. I've been kind of building up a small collection of Life Sims on my Switch now, and I really want to play them. Like I have, what was it? The Story of Seasons Doraemon edition. I have my Time of Portia on mine. I've played a lot of Stardew Valley on it already before that came out. But, you know, like in general, I'm excited about those games and I want to play them, but Animal Crossing is so good right now and I don't really need to check into those other games, you know?
Yeah.
But I will say that it is interesting because I am a little bit more interested because it's not real time like Animal Crossing. Like the pace is different and sometimes I'm just like wanting a change of pace. These days I just like flip to Splatoon for a little while to get like really fast paced intense stuff, but
yeah.
But I do kind of like that those are different for that sense. But really, like, I'll be happy to play all of those games once New Horizons slows down in about 5 years, you know? Yeah. So what about you, Nina?
I kind of have the opposite take of you, Chewy. I would love to see more of those life sim games have real-time clocks because I always dip into like the Harvest Moon and My Time at Portia and stuff like that and just end up kind of quitting after a little while because the days are so short, like 15 or 30 minutes long, everything becomes so repetitive. So you're doing the same thing every 15 minutes or every 30 minutes. And I like being able to take my time with those games, which I think is why I like Animal Crossing so much. So I think if another real-time clock game came out, I'd totally be into it.
Yeah, and I get that too. Because overall, like, they kind of get that really nice pattern going where you do have a daily routine and you're just like, oh, I just like checking in on this every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's nice for sure. Cool. So yeah, everybody had some really great questions. We'll probably do another post office episode soon because I've seen some more pop in here and there. If you're on the Discord, feel free to check out the post office to post your questions. And if you're listening on YouTube or anything, leave some comments on there. I tend to read them all. I don't do a good job of responding anymore. But I do read like pretty much everything that comes in there. So if you have a good question in there, you might see it on the show here. Yeah. But anyways, let's go ahead and ask our patrons a question. Let's move on to Haken Islander Corner. For those of you who don't know, every single week, we post a question for our patrons on Patreon and read their answers here. This week's question is, what is your favorite New Horizons daily chore now that they're in a routine? So, we'll go back and forth. Maybe Nina, Sergio, me. We'll go in that order.
Okay. So Claire says, in every iteration of Animal Crossing, my favorite chore has always been watering the flowers. I really don't need any more hybrids, but it's such a peaceful activity, except when my watering can breaks. Otherwise, I've been making sure to speak to each of my villagers and give them a gift specific to their personality or hobby. Now wrapped, thanks to Sergio.
Yeah, good tip, Sergio.
You opened our eyes. Yeah, I mean, watering flowers, I've found a lot of people find that really soothing, and the animation is so nice and slow, and the sound for it is so nice.
Yeah.
It's like meditation almost.
Yeah, I've been really wanting to experience that, and that's that's another motivation for my island right now, because all my flowers are just like clumps of flowers. It was just tons in one area, and now I'm just like, I can't wait to have this organized so I can make some nice little gardens for people to water.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping for.
I've recently set up a little purple hyacinth water or garden area because they remind me of lavender plants. So I like to go in there and just water them.
Yeah, you're right. I just got my first purple hyacinth so like today, actually. So
they're really pretty.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll have to tell Jackie because she also really loves lavender.
Yeah, she'll have to come over and see it.
Yeah.
Nice. So Lindsay Schley said, I just love getting as many Nook miles and rewards as I can. It really has helped me enjoy this game for longer periods at a time than past iterations. Yes, it's very good. You know, you get the little sound and you get a vibration in your controller that you got something, and most of the time you already know what you just did and you know why you got it, but you're still excited about it.
The notification sounds and feelings from the Nook phone, I'm just like, can that just be my phone? I want that.
That would be really cool.
I'm always so happy. Yeah.
I have a friend who, whenever he gets a Nook smile, he goes, I done nooked.
That's great. Yeah, I've been hoarding them lately. I'm at over 100,000 Nook miles now.
Yeah.
I'm going crazy. I don't know what I'm using them for, but eventually I will use them. So Kakulu said, I love looking for my 2 tree furnitures. It's sort of calming to go out with my net in hand in case of wasps and shake every single tree until I get those 2 little leaf drops. I love the sound it makes too. All the sounds in this game are so satisfying. Yeah, same. This is probably, I actually forgot to mention this, but this is probably one that's most consistently in my routine where I'll just shake all my trees. I think the past couple of days it hasn't been, just because I was too busy cutting down trees.
I love the sound of that leaf fall. This has just turned into Animal Crossing ASMR talk. That's all.
It really did.
That's a good one.
I've always sort of imagined that sound as a cute, evil laugh, if that makes any sense.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I could hear it.
Let's see. Jules says, honestly, I love getting presents for my villagers. I want to give them a fitting one every day, and I am always super excited if I get a picture. It was my goal in Wild World to get a picture of all my villagers, no matter what, and I would kind of love to keep that going.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's a good goal to have, and I want to work on that more too.
That's a
lofty
goal.
I got Ketchup's picture today.
You did?
Yeah, third one.
Gosh.
I'm at 0 here.
Me too.
You're kicking our butts, Sergio.
Though, Annalisa just asked me to give her a greeting, and I heard that that's on the same tier as when they start to give you pictures.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I hope I'm soon with Annalisa, because I love the anteaters.
Sounds like I'm not even close.
Oh.
Yeah, I've never gotten that one.
Oh, well, it'll happen. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Nice. So Zion or Sai says, my favorite daily chore is visiting villagers' houses in the morning, afternoon, and evening to see who's crafting. I'm always searching for a new recipe or one I can share with others. Yes, it's very cool when you see their lights on and you're like, yes, let's see if it's here.
Yeah. And I love visiting other people's towns and finding out who's crafting.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. That's always a habit of mine whenever I go visit anybody. I have to go check. So Cyborg Jiro said, the only thing I routinely do is check stores for things I want to buy. If I didn't do that, I probably wouldn't get on every single day. I also usually try to talk to any villagers I cross by on the way there and back. I like that because it just kind of feels like, oh yeah, it's time to go check the shops. So
yeah,
and then just talking to everybody on your way, that sounds like life. It's just
cute.
Nice.
Well, true, yeah.
And in June, we're gonna start getting all the summer clothes. So I'm excited to start checking stores again.
Oh.
Yes, yeah. Wake me up when it's autumn and we start getting that clothes.
Yeah, those will be good. Yeah. Kimbers says, checking in on all my flower gardens to create hybrids. Because I share the island with 2 other family members, I could only create small gardens for each of the steps in making hybrids. So it's going to take a while.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah, those take a long time. It takes a lot of work to get those hybrids.
Yeah, especially sharing an island and sharing the time you can play.
Yeah, that's true. We do have to check in on Quantrell to see how that's going. For sure.
Oh,
I know his is a shared place, which is fun. Cool. Yeah. Thank you both for joining me for such a fun show. Lots of cool things to talk about. It's just been fun. It's been fun playing this game for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. Don't want the episode to end? Well, you can keep the conversation going by Nintendo switching over to our Discord. Just follow the link in the description, and you can talk with other people who love Animal Crossing as much as you do, including Sergio, Nina, and me. Want to support the show in a bigger way and get your voice heard during the show? Visit patreon.com/ChewiePlaysNintendo. You can support our show with just $1, get special access to a secret room on Discord, join in on the Haken Islander Corner, and even read a monthly newsletter covering all things Haken and Chewie Plays. We really appreciate the support and put your money towards some great things on the show. Tuned in on YouTube, the comments are a great place to let us know your answers to the Haken Islander Corner. What is your favorite New Horizons daily chore now that you're in a routine? If you dig what you hear, please KK slide over to that review section on your platform of choice. Let people know what they're missing out on. Haken is a Wild production brought to you by Chewie, Sergio, Nina, and all of our patrons. We thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.
See you guys next time.